Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, boy, do we have a show for you today. As Veggie Tales once always said, got a great one. Got a great one planned out for you. Jake Crane will be joining us in about 10 minutes or so. Our buddy Scout will be joining us very soon. We got coaches that could be on his way to different schools. Guys, it's going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a lot of fun. And already 25 of you dudes are in this thing already. So leave us your comments. Leave us your questions down below in the comments section. Also, make sure that you hit up our hotline, 601-980-1621. Send us in your questions via text, via email, do whatever. Doesn't matter how you do it. But, guys, we got a great show planned out for you today. It is going to be a heck of a lot of fun, ladies and gentlemen. Let me check the feed, see what you guys are getting. Nah, it looks pretty good for now. But, hey, guys, we are excited. I'm ecstatic. Guys, we're in for what could be one of our best shows that we've had in a while. I know we hit over 1,000 views last week. Guys, this one, we could be in for quite a show today. And I had to celebrate, you know what I mean? So, guys, thank you guys for tuning in this morning. It's going to be fun. We're going to have quite a bit of stuff to talk about. So, guys, let's just go ahead and let's kind of get into all of what we have going on today. So, yesterday, if you tuned in to the show, we went a little bit in depth about the Diego Pavia situation. We're going to get Jake's take on that one. I know that he usually does his Jake's take after the Crane and Company show. But, guys, we are – dude, I'm ecstatic. I mean, I'm on cloud 9 getting a guy like that. But it's going to be fun. Make no mistake about it. It is going to be a lot of fun to get to see things like this and get to experience a lot of what's been going on around college football, and why not do it with one of the best that's out there. So we're a couple days away from the college football playoff officially beginning. So let's go ahead and let's kind of talk about that right now. First game that we have to start off with is none other in the first round, which will be tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 o'clock Central, so that you can satisfy us Central Time folks, is none other. I think that is Clemson, and no, it's Notre Dame and Indiana. First game of the night. This one's going to be interesting because, to me, this is a game between two very, very overrated teams. Just my opinion. Notre Dame, who are you offensively? What is your identity? Are you legitimately the same team that you have been majority of the year? Are you the same team that has been putting up dominant performances on offense? Are you the same complete team that we saw during the regular season following the Northern Illinois loss? Or are you the same team at the beginning of the season? Indiana. Who are we going to see from offensively? I think the winner of this game is knocked out once they go into the next game. But I don't know, man. It's quite an interesting time. It's quite an interesting year. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to dive into. But guys, here's the problem with both of these teams. Is that their season, all likelihood, is going to end following this game on January 1st in New Orleans against Georgia. The problem with Notre Dame is that as good as their defense is, their offense won't be able to generate a whole lot going up against Georgia. Indiana, the same thing. They're going to get shut down, especially if they can't get any drives going throughout this football game. It's going to be a mess of a game. Make no mistake about it, dude. I mean, it will be very, very disappointing for a lot of teams joining in. By the way, guys, 125 of you already joining in. We're only 5 minutes in. That is absolutely kind of crazy. That is absolutely insane. Really, really excited for that one. But no, it's going to be absolutely insane throughout this game. Going to be one of those days where you're not going to see that great of football. All likelihood, this may be a runaway game for Notre Dame, depending on what they do on the defensive side of the football. I don't know, man. I'm not really sold on either team. Any other year, I would put somebody else in. Hell, I would put Alabama or Ole Miss into this one. But unfortunately, we look at record. And unfortunately, a 3-loss team isn't getting in this year. Does it suck? Not really. But at the same time, this is what college football asks for. This is what you were looking for, ladies and gentlemen. This is exactly what you were looking for. And you got it. Whether you like it or not, this is where it is in college football. So I can't help that some people don't like the situation of what's happened. This is year one. Did we expect all this craziness to happen? Absolutely not. It's asinine to me how crazy all of this is. It's asinine to me of why we're in a situation right now where we're literally looking at what could be the start of just asinine craziness in college football. Is it anybody's fault? No. The committee, you could say. But, I mean, apart from that, guys, the committee should have looked at themselves and said, we need to do this the right way. We need to put only 8 teams in the college football playoff. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what to expect throughout the rest of this season. So Scout will have no camera, but let's see if we have him on there. Yo.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm in the back of a car right now, but we good.
I can tell. By the way, let's see it. Go ahead and speak. Okay. So we got that. There we go. Now we can add him to the stage. I figured so. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to hear you if you were in the background, but now I can hear you. So, dude, big week. We already got 170 people. I don't know if you can see the audience count. 170 dudes are in here.
That's great. That's great. And then when Jake gets in here, it'll get even crazier. But
dude, it was already crazy once he reposted my tweet. I was like,
he's a dog. He was on WNSP earlier, the Mobile station. I didn't get up early enough to listen. WNSP, the Mobile radio station. Like they cover like South and a bunch of other stuff down there. But I don't even know what they talked about. But it was like 7 o'clock in the morning.
You know, he's a South Alabama alum.
Yeah. And his dad used to coach there, and both him and Blaine used to coach there.
I forgot Blaine ain't coached there. Nah, Blaine's cool people. Let me see if I gotta see if I can get the rock music on. Yeah, I'm definitely putting some rock music on whenever we get him in. Or no. Nah, I gotta get some good music on, bro. So we can get him into this thing, bro. But No, Scout, today is college football first round eve. So we finally have some sort of things going on. We got a lot to talk about here in the college football playoff. Got a lot of business to handle, especially with what you have going on with Notre Dame and Indiana. A lot of controversy surrounding that one. To be honest with you, that might be honestly the worst game of this entire playoff. But hell, I could be surprised. I could be absolutely shocked with what we see. But I don't know what to expect. And by the way, let's go ahead and let's get this freaking thing rolling. We got to get some background music in so we can introduce none other, one of the many co-hosts of Crane & Company. Let's bring him in. Jake Crane, ladies and gentlemen.
What up?
Jake Crane, what's up, baby? How you doing today?
Man, I love this intro music.
Hey, we got to do it only for you, brother. How are you today?
No, I got to make that a staple, man. No, I'm good. Just ready for this playoff. It's been fun eating the appetizers that we had yesterday and the day before that with some of these bowl games, but I'm ready for the steak to get here.
Dude, the steak will be coming in tomorrow when Indiana and Notre Dame kick off, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, out in South Bend, Indiana. Jake, I was talking before you came in, and I'll be honest with you, this might be two of the most overhyped teams in the playoff, if I'm being straight up with you. Honestly, these might be the two worst teams of the playoff because I look at Notre Dame, and I looked at how overhyped they were. You lose to Northern Illinois early in the season. You look horrible on offense. Your strength of schedule, not the greatest. You don't really have that signature win other than what you did against Texas A&M early in the season. So, and then you look at Indiana. You're beating dudes to sleep. Great. You lost to Ohio State as well. So, I'm not really sure what to expect from this game. But I will say this, it's going to be a high-powered offense going up against arguably one of the best defenses in all of college football with Notre Dame. What is your expectations to expect out in South Bend tomorrow?
Well, look, I mean, I can, we can have a conversation about strength of schedule, and we should with both of these teams. I mean, it's not like they went through some incredible gauntlet. That A&M win that Notre Dame had at the beginning of the year, I know A&M finished 8-4, but going into the last week, they beat Texas there in the SEC championship, and that win on the road looks totally different than it does now. I don't want people to think that these two teams aren't very good because the style that they play. If we're being honest, it is somewhat of a boring style of football. It's not as flashy or sexy as some of these other teams that, throw up these big numbers and hit a bunch of explosive plays. It's very methodical, especially in Indiana's case. Now, when I look at this matchup, one of the things we've talked about since the playoffs were announced, who was in it, where they were playing, was that Indiana is probably the most routine and team that relies the most on having to stay on schedule. They're like routine people. You wake up at the same time, you go brush your teeth, then you turn the shower on, then you get in the shower, then you go get coffee, then you eat your breakfast. But if one thing is screwed up in that order, it can ruin your whole morning. If all of a sudden you forgot to buy toothpaste, now your whole morning's thrown off and you're not as good as what you usually are. When Indiana's on schedule, when they got their toothpaste, they're a pretty damn good football team, right? They're balanced on offense. They can stop the run defensively. They get you in third and passing downs where they know what you're going to do, at least, putting the ball in the air, and they manipulate their package and blitz packages that way as well. But the Ohio State game, you see what happens when they get off schedule. When the punter drops a snap, they go down 14-7. Then they give up a punt return to start the second half. Now you're down 21-7, and they are not built to create explosives to be able to come back rapidly like that. Rourke is really good, but he's very narrow in his ability to create when the play breaks down. That's why him getting rid of the ball quickly, whether it's to the check down, whether it's throwing the ball away, is kind of a weapon that he has to utilize. I'd much rather be in 2nd and 10 than 2nd and 15 and get thrown off schedule. Notre Dame, look, that they've been a running heavy team. Riley Leonard's throwing the ball better as the year has gone on. They're built a little bit different than other Notre Dame teams that we've seen at the skill position. They're a little smoother. They're a little quicker. They're not just big and clunky and try and box you out and get rebounds. And have one guy that's decently fast enough to hit a home run. I just look at this game. I feel like it's going to be tight. It's going to be back and forth. But at some point in the second half and probably in the fourth quarter, Riley Leonard's going to make a play, whether that be on a quarterback design run, whether that be on a passing play where the play breaks down and they're in man coverage and he sees their back turn and he takes off. I think Notre Dame finds a way, but I really like Indiana to cover that 7.5.
And I'll say one thing too with Indiana is like Cignetti's gonna have a game plan going. Like Cignetti's gonna have some stuff that we haven't even seen all season. Think about last year when he played App State trying to make this Sun Belt championship game. This guy, he understands how to win these games that he needs to win. And like this is a team that you have all those, it's the half Duke, half Hoosier team, right? Because you have all these guys from JMU that he brought with him, whether they're coaching, whether they're players. Like they all understand each other. They have a very similar language. They'll get through it. And like to the Notre Dame point, I don't think Notre Dame's bad either. Like, yeah, their schedule wasn't that great, but like in comparison of like some of these other schedules or some of these other performances, they've been honestly the most dominant team the last 6-7 weeks of the season. And that's something that you can stack up against a Georgia, you can stack up against a Tennessee, and you can see similar performances. But I think like Freeman, that defensive style that he brings to the table, it's different. Yeah, it's not pretty. It's not cute, but it's a solid way of playing football. So.
Yeah, look, I agree with you on the point. Cignetti, is going to have some stuff saved up, not only, for the time building up to this game, but throughout the year, there's some stuff you have in your pocket. But I do think, and I know he knows this, there is a line where you can get too cute. You got to remember to dance with the one that brought you. You can't come out here and try and turn this thing into Cirque du Soleil and all of a sudden you turn the ball over twice. Or that would be the worst thing. I would rather just lose being myself than trying to do too much because I didn't trust myself and put us in harm's way that way. There's it's the Goldilocks porridge of both. This one's too hot. This one's too cold. Let's run a reverse in the first half just one time, right? Let's run a throwback screen one time in the second half. This porridge, though, is just right. I think that's what Cignetti's good at, too.
That option attack with Riley Leonard and Jeremiah Love has been deadly majority of the season, especially the back half. I mean, when you see both of those dudes get out into that second level, as soon as Leonard sees that pulling backer scream across through the C gap, boom, as soon as he gets it out, Love is out the gate. That's what works so well, and the way that the offensive line is so patient and his ability to get out coming from those, you have GT pulls, get them out in front of them. Leonard's so patient in letting them set their blocks. Even when you have a backer or scream across and scrape across those guards, he's so quick getting the football out to Love that they don't have really much time to react. And so I think that's definitely going to be a difference in that football game is just the option game and getting that Indiana defense confused and to point out which dude am I going to attack? Am I going to go for the pulling back? Am I going to be patient and wait for him to pitch? Or am I going to take the backer and maybe, hopefully, my safety is going to come down and make the sure tackle on Leonard? So it's definitely going to be a chess match between Marcus Freeman's defense and Kirk Cignetti's offense and flip-flop around. It's definitely going to be a game that's definitely going to be one on the line of scrimmage. Jake, let me ask you a question, especially with regards to the line of scrimmage. I'm a former defensive lineman myself. Whose line of scrimmage has the upper hand? Is it Notre Dame's or is it Indiana's?
To me, I think this is probably the most even matchup on the field, which means this game's going to be pretty good. And I know Notre Dame had some injuries, preseason as well on the offensive line. They're still really talented. The element you brought up, Riley Leonard's running ability when they run that kind of triple option attack, being able to, it may not be smart to fight on multiple fronts if you're a general in the Army, but it sure as hell is pretty smart to fight on multiple fronts if you're on offense because you put the defense in conflict in different areas and you try and get one-on-one. It's like in basketball where you try and create your matchups, run pick and rolls to get guys to switch, to get the guy on the guy that you want so then you can isolate. That's all that really is. But as far as looking at Notre Dame's offensive line versus Indiana's defensive line, this is what I can't wait to see. When you look at Indiana, it's not like they're sitting there with a bunch of first rounders and like freaks like Jalen Carter from Georgia and guys that we've seen in the past. But they're really, really talented with their hands, and they understand their gap integrity and where they're supposed to be. Defense, just like offense, yes, it's reactionary, but you have to move as one organism, right? You're trying to create that cage, and then you attack that cage. What I really like about Indiana, and one of the reasons why they're top 3, I believe, in the country in yards per rush given up, is they do their job and they don't try and do anybody else's. If it's my job to take the back on zone read, I'm going to take the back. I'm not going to guess. If it's my job to bully this center or bully this guard on a base block and fight over his face to get into the other gap, that's what I'm going to get. That's what I'm going to do. It may not be sexy. It may not be flashy. You may not look like Jadeveon Clowney coming off the edge, but the way they play with their hands, the way they're able to get off blocks, the way they're able to occupy gaps, it just mucks everything up. Not only the guy running in there, but the reads, as you mentioned, right? When you want to run that Q power, when you want to run that Q counter, when you want to just run your gap scheme in general, they'll spill it sometimes. They'll box it sometimes, but they always move in sync with each other, right? The right hand does what the right hand's supposed to do, and then the left hand does what the left hand's supposed to do. And that may sound easy to some people, but it's one thing to know where to go. It's another thing to be good enough fundamentally to get there. And that's why I think Indiana and Notre Dame on the line of scrimmage, I'm more interested in is this Notre Dame D-line going to be able to get after Rourke if they're not balanced on offense? If they're not able to pitch backwards some on early downs to slow down that pass rush, if Indiana has to live in 3rd and 7 and 3rd and 9 and have to drop back and see if Rourke can find ways to keep getting the ball out in time, even though me, you, and God knows they're throwing it.
Yeah. Jake, let me ask you a question. When you looked at the D-line, whenever y'all were coaching, were you teaching dudes to squeeze down and spill when you see a pulling guard, or were y'all taught to like scrape or box out?
We would try and mix it up, but if I had to pick one I liked best, I want to spill it, right? Yeah. I want to create the car jam and the car wreck in the backfield. I want that back to have to stop his feet. Not that boxing it is bad. You're trying to contain it, let the linebackers funnel down. If people don't know what we're saying, it's whenever you're taking on a puller, when you spill, it's a wrong arm. So you're basically taking out the pull. And now you can't really cut guys, so there's an even better art form to it. You're taking out that opposite shoulder on the spill to stop that guy's momentum, because the back's supposed to follow behind him. He's supposed to seal, and he's supposed to go after the seal. That spill creates that pile up, stops the running back's feet. Everybody's able to rally, as opposed to a box is when that end says, I'm going to set a hard edge right here. Here comes the kick out. That's fine. You want to kick me out? I'm going to set this edge. Let the backers come inside. I just wasn't a huge fan of boxing, because every time they practice on the defense boxing it.
Yeah.
Like, it was never like, all right, guys, we're going to let them spill it this time and let's see what happens. They're always like, here's how we want it to run. And then they go and seal that edge. It's like split zone. Right? It's like they never want you to go inside and wrong arm the split zone. It's always, all right, nice and pretty. Let's box it in. Here we go. So, you got to mix it up, I guess. But if it's me, I want you to be a toddler. I want you to spill everything.
Dude, many people don't know that's a defensive lineman's highlight. If you can get a spill and if you can knock a pulling guard on his ass, dude.
Oh, it's beautiful. Not even that. It's nothing was more poetic to me as a defensive guy, and then as a defensive coordinator, than seeing a guy spill and the back just stop and freeze. Yeah. And then you see the wave just overtake him. It's like that movie where it's the end of the world with like the guy who with the guy who played Frodo and like Tia Leone, and she's standing on the beach with her dad as the tsunami comes. That's just how I felt. Well, I forgot. Deep Impact? Is that the name of the movie? I think.
Dude, I'm 20 years old. I have no idea.
Look, I'm 35. I'm not 108. I'm not Rumpelstiltskin. I mean, people out there have got to see Deep Impact.
Nick, you were a teenager whenever I was born. You think I know any of those movies?
Yeah. What I got to tell you about? Like, it's like that part in Moana when I don't know like what your generation watched.
Oh, Lordy.
According to my mom and dad, yes, it was Deep Impact because like.
Okay, good. Thank you. According to your mom and dad,
That's the one
great,
with,
great, awesome. Thanks, mom. And dad. I'm
was that
officially
the one
old.
with Keanu Reeves?
I don't think Keanu was in. I don't think Keanu was in that.
I might be thinking of another movie.
It was deep in. It's the kid who played Frodo.
Morgan Freeman, Elijah Wood, and Tia Leon.
Yeah,
okay.
Elijah Wood was in there. Man, he took a chance, and he got away with it too. I couldn't believe it.
And Morgan Freeman was the top build, and then Leslie Sabrisky and Jon Favreau are also in it.
Dude, Jon Favreau's in everything, man. Deep Impact. There you go. Who'd have thought? That's how you put a bow on that.
Oh, Lordy.
Hey, also, I'd like to add Riley Leonard, Fairhope, Alabama product.
Oh, of course. Look, shout out Fairhope. You talk about good eating. Fairhope, the Causeway. Man, it's too early for me to be talking about bluegill and the Causeway. I want some right now. I want some tuna dip. If you're in Mobile right now and you don't go to bluegill, you're letting everybody down. I don't care if you're at work.
Oh.
Hey, Jake, are you going to be at the Senior Bowl? Just like random question.
I think we're going to be able to look. Our first baby's due January 9th, so I'm basically we're on a travel ban right now at my house, so I'm just as prepared as humanly possible as I think I could be. What happens a couple weeks after that? I don't know, but hopefully we are.
Got it.
I'll be in Mobile for that one. I'm still waiting on credentials to get approved. Hopefully it will, but knowing how Mobile is and how they treat some college students, all likelihood it won't, but we will never know. Jake, how about your alum, the South Alabama Jaguars, with a salute to Veterans Bowl with a backup quarterback?
Yeah. Look, we handle business. It wasn't pretty. And I know these periphery bowls, you got opt-outs and you have, other situations going on. But it was a perfect situation for me because I had Western Michigan plus 7.5. So it worked out absolutely beautiful. Hit the bet. South Alabama won. I believe that was our second bowl win. Dude, it was crazy. Like, we went to the first bowl game ever when I was at South Coach and played Bowling Green and Dino Babers in the Camellia Bowl, and lost that one in the last second. And they said, like, on the broadcast, they're like, this is South Alabama's 5th bowl game. I was like, golly, I didn't realize it was 5. I mean, that's pretty good, man. We just started. Like, we're speaking of just being born. Like, South Alabama's still, having to get diapers changed every hour and a half or whatever that is.
Hey, Jake, I did want to say about that because I was there, and I got a field ticket. So, being in the end zone and seeing Jeremiah Webb go absolutely bonkers, like, I got to see, he ran right in front of me. I posted the clip. Lucas can find it since he's on the computer right now. And then the other one where he just, like, mosses the guy, like, for lack of a better term, his nuts were on the helmet of the Western Michigan DB by the time he caught the ball.
Yeah, he gave him an Iranian brunch. That's what we call that.
Yeah, it was a insane combo, and then he like increased his total yardage on the season by 50% in one game. Like, I understand they had injuries and stuff, and he was basically the only of the top 3 that was there, but it was an insane game. And then after the game, one of the security guys was like, "You got to pass." So I just like walked over with a celebration, right? And it's like I'm just in the middle of all these South players taking their pictures for them and stuff. I still haven't posted like half of it, but because you can't post it all. You can't just like, I'll use the phrase, but you can't post it all at once when you have that type of stuff. But yeah, but it was really, really cool. I think honestly with Applewhite, the progress the program has taken at South with Applewhite in 6 months or 8 months now is insane compared to the 2 years with Womack. And I don't think Womack was like bad or anything, but it's more like there was already a little snowball, and now we're starting to see it get bigger and bigger and bigger. So
yeah, and it's always going to come down to getting the linemen in there. That's the difference at the Sun Belt level if you want to compete with the big dogs. There's a lot of skill guys running around that can make plays, but the difference will always be in the line of scrimmage, and not just your starting 5 on the offensive line, but the depth you have and your ability to, fight the injuries that just naturally occur throughout a college football season.
Jake, we know you do your Jake's takes every now and then. I see them on Twitter. We got a Jake's take for you. Diego Pavia, the courts granted him the extra year of eligibility, didn't count his JUCO years toward his NCAA eligibilities. Let me give my take on it. High school recruiting is about to die. Let's just be honest. Unless you're a big-time 4 or 5-star, high school recruiting is basically dead. Not just with the transfer portal. You got dudes bouncing from D1 to D1 to D1 all for a bag. Now with this JUCO level, you're going to get dudes that are going to go from the JUCO level and are going to be 24, 25, 26 playing at the Division I level. You're going to have guys maybe even play a 7th year in college football. Yeah. And to me, it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It feels like the NCAA is contradictory. I actually saw a tweet literally yesterday whenever this all got released that said, if it was from a Hawaii quarterback, that said that he didn't even get an extra year of eligibility, even though he played only 2 snaps during his freshman year. So he only got 4 instead of 5, which rightfully so. He needs to have appealed that to the NCAA. I don't know if that's a number, if that's a thing for them to be able to even overturn. But, I mean, it just goes to show you the NCAA is contradictory, the recruiting age in the high school level, especially with these blue-chip dudes that are not really getting a whole lot of looks. It's really going to affect them at the end of the day. Wanted to get your take on this one. Let's give your Jake's take on the Diego Pavia situation.
Well, I mean, okay, so the court said he can play. So, like, is the NCAA going to let him play? Like, this is just such a convoluted mess. Like, there's no uniformity, as you brought up. And I mean, look, we've talked even before NIL was legal and the transfer portal was this free about how selective the NCAA was. Like, they'd grant this waiver, but they wouldn't grant that one. They would, like, grant one of a guy that just wanted to go to a different school, but wouldn't grant a waiver for an extra year because a kid moved closer to his home where his mom was dying of cancer or something. You're like, what is going on with the NCAA? Here, the point you made about the high school recruiting being dead, to me, that is more affected by being able to play longer than 40 years than the transfer portal, right? Because if you only have 4 years to play, it doesn't matter how many times you transfer. You're still eating up a spot, right? So you got the 40 years to play. It's not like, you're a junior and you transfer to another place, so now you occupy 2 scholarships. So the reason it would hurt high school, and it already has, is because of this extra COVID years that these players are getting. That's why Cam Rising can play 35 years. That's why Alan Bowman is our version of Van Wilder. That's why you're seeing all these guys getting to play all these extra years. And they said it's going to stop, I believe, after next year, is you don't have the extra COVID time. So maybe that'll bring it back. But they've lost like every case when they've went against what a player wanted. So next year, when it does end or whatever, if, Ronnie throws a lot, wants an extra year at Brigham State, then if he sues, is he going to win the lawsuit? They've won everything else. So I don't know what it means if the court's like he can play with the NCAA, because the NCAA is not the court. They're their own governing body, unfortunately. And that creates these contradictory situations. But yeah, man, it sucks. Like, dude, get a job, dog.
Yeah.
Like, get a job. Like, I get you. You should have 5 years to play 4. 5 years to play 4. If you can't get it done by then, go get a job, man. Go get your CDL. Pick up a craft, right? Become a underwater welder. Do something. This 9 years playing college football is ridiculous.
I mean, it's so ridiculous seeing all this, and it just makes me wonder, like, how close are we to seeing dudes get 10 years of eligibility? I look at what Cam McCormick's had to deal with. Now, I know it's all the medical red shirts and shit, but it makes me wonder how close we are to dudes getting 10 years of eligibility, especially with the JUCO.
Well, I think it's going to end
happen.
Next year.
Probably not.
Yeah, I think it's going to, hopefully it ends next year. My problem is when they try and end it the first time some player sues them, will they win and set the precedent that it's like, well, now that I sued you and we won, we can all sue you and win. That's why, look, we need to go to this Super League, all right? We need to go to this Super League that's got 60 teams, and in order to play in the Super League, you've got to sign a piece of paper when you're getting recruited that you agree to all the rules of said Super League, and if not, You can't sue them. You can't Dr. Seuss them. You can't ambulance chase them or whatever. You got to abide by these rules. You play by the rules. Congratulations. You got 5 years to play 4. If you don't like that, let me introduce you to a place called the UFL.
Ooh.
Hey, and I will say, Jake, the biggest thing with it, I think like they've been avoiding getting a judge to sign off on something or getting a legislator to, get in the room and be like, hey, how do we do this? They've wanted to do everything on their own, but they're getting to a point where they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to get a judge or someone with that power or responsibility to just walk in and be like, hey, like, this is what we want y'all to shape this up as. And whether that's, 5 years plus one potential if they have a medical red shirt. Because I think the medical red shirt's the one where it gets weird, right? I don't think you can technically take that away. Because in the end of the day, it's a hardship. It is what it is, right? Like you can't fake that. But I think with like the JUCO stuff, with this happening, it's the same with anything else. Like with they've dealt with the concussions for long enough that targeting became a thing. They dealt with the players get paid long enough, NIL became a thing. So with this one, I think this is finally the straw of like, hey, like what we're gonna do is we're gonna get everything lined up. If you play JUCO, because I'm pretty sure we're getting to the point that JUCO and NIA or NAIA are gonna they're not gonna matter when it comes to eligibility. And then you're gonna encourage. The one thing I will say on the back end of this is you're gonna encourage kids to go that JUCO route and not waste any quote unquote collegiate eligibility. And then there'll be like the only people that would hate that are like the D2 and D3 schools, because like their recruiting level isn't as high.
You know where we see that already is in baseball. I had a bunch of guys that I played with growing up that had a bunch of D1 offers but wanted to go to JUCO for 2 years because, one, they don't test for steroids in JUCO, and 2, you can get eligible for the draft quicker by going to JUCO as opposed to going to college where you have to wait 3 years if you sign to that college. So, you've seen guys decide to take the JUCO route. I mean, what's going to happen when you got a guy that goes to a JUCO for 2 years that's the number 1 JUCO player in the country, and NFL scouts are looking at him like, bro, you're 19, 20 years old. You're 6'6", 300 pounds. Why don't we just see if we can draft you? Don't even go to college. So, look, who knows? I just want some rules, man. I just want some good old-fashioned rules and regulations, all sorts of family fun.
And I think if we do get to a super league system, we're going to get to the point where, like, instead of it being a draft system, we start getting like minor league contract type setup stuff.
Yeah.
Like what the D League is doing.
Yeah, we're getting a lot closer to that than I think people realize. Like we might still have, more like a how like the MLB has their draft like right after the season, or a combination of the MLB regular draft and the MLB international draft. I know no one pays attention to the MLB international draft, but they're drafting like 16-year-olds in like the middle of August or September, October. It depends on the year, but it's like the later in the year.
And those 16-year-olds are really 14. They just say they're 16.
Yeah, but like that's like when you hear these Ronald Acuñas, they turn 17, 18, they end up on your local like AA, AAA team. Yeah. These guys in the system for 3 or 4 years getting paid by your the front office and whatever. So it's just I think we're getting closer to that, especially when you see like I saw like Jake, you'll probably end up hearing about him because I know all the Mobile QB country people love him, but Austin Christian, some kid from Tampa, plays quarterback, 8th grade. He's like 6 foot tall almost, 5'11", right? Whatever. And I saw him throw the ball. I'm like, dude, like this kid's better than some JV quarterbacks I've seen. He wouldn't be able to play varsity football right now. But imagine like 2 years come about, he's 16 years old, and then like some school really wants him to come by, and you can reclassifying is way easier now than it has been ever.
Oh my God! You wouldn't believe
one of the running backs from Auburn, like Auburn High, he reclassed in about 2 weeks worth of work. Now, granted, he only needed like a class to work with, like his senior or his spring semester of the senior or whatever it was called, but he got those done in about like 3 months worth of work. And it's so weird how reclassification and all that works. And then with like Ryan Williams and stuff really getting popular, we're going to see more and more of like, hey, if there's real raw talent and you're young, like they're going to want you to reclass. Now, Quinn Ewers was the first guinea pig, and that didn't really work out at Ohio State, but hey.
No, it's a Wild West out there, man, for sure.
I think with this too, I think the only reason this went to court is for NIL money. If this was just before NIL came into play, this really wouldn't have been a big issue. I think this might have been thrown out, to be honest with you. Now that the money comes into play, now you got to start thinking about, okay, how much is he going to get potentially coming back to Nashville? How much is this going to happen?
And he isn't an NFL quarterback, so he's got to make his money while he can doing this. So I get it. And I think Diego truly just loves the game too. I think he wants to play another year at college. Not to say he won't get a shot professionally. I just don't think it'll be in the NFL.
No.
Hey, and I will say one thing with that, Lucas, I don't know if you read the whole write-up that the judge made, but in his decision, there's a full paragraph dedicated to, like, this is no longer about the academic progress of a individual. Like, This is really about the athletic potential, the athletic or monetary gain, or I forget the specific terminology he used. But basically, he shut down any future, like, oh, this is about school, right? And I think, like, this goes back to, I know I made a post like last July about it when I had, like, hardly any followers. We need to remake that post. But anyways, about, like, the pyramid scheme of college football that we're close to where, like, at the very top, we'll have, like, a super league, and then, like, lower and lower, it'll just be like promotion, relegation, whatever. Like you'll have these schools like North Dakota State who, if they had to play every single sport in D1, they couldn't do it. They couldn't compete, but they can play football up there. Like they could easily play football at a level similar to the Mountain West or the MAC.
Agreed.
But with all that, I think we're getting I think football will separate as a sport closer than anything. And then one quick little thing when we're talking about the JUCO NAI stuff. If you look at kickers, long snappers, and punters, they are like, you can learn a lot about what the future is from looking at their recruiting, because like these guys, you'll see their previous school list, it's like 3 deep, or they're international, or they're they have like some other thing. Because I know even like Troy's punter was at Coastal, and then he was at a JUCO, and then he was like somewhere else too. So it's like it's so interesting.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, it's Texas high school football is kind of doing the same thing. You can forget the academic side. The UIL is kind of proposing a deal where athletes can transfer from one school district to another just for athletic purposes. But what happens to the transfer credits? Does it stay at that school or does it transfer with them? The whole thing is so confusing now that it's really trickling down to the high school level. Last question for you, Jake, because I know you've got a busy schedule ahead of you. Tonight's action. I know you're probably a big G5 guy. Georgia Southern going against Sam Houston. Big one today. I think Sam Houston's actually, I think they're making their first bowl game ever as a Division I.
Yeah, and they lost their coach to Temple, which I always tell people, be careful just assuming, hey, this head coach left, this team's going to get drilled, they don't care anymore, whatever. I like the under in this game. I think it's 48.5. Georgia Southern, Coach Helton, a guy that I know really well that does a really good job. I like Georgia Southern to win. The 4.5 makes me nervous. I just don't like that number a lot. If I had to pick a side, I would probably have to take Georgia Southern minus the 4.5, but I really like the under 48.5. I believe it's still at it. It may have gone down to 47.5. I haven't seen it since we came on here, but I think it's not going to be the sexiest game either. I think if there is going to be some flash and sizzle, it's going to be from Georgia Southern, trying to hit some explosive plays down the field. I just wonder how, Sam Houston may try and take the ball, run and hide a little bit and milk that clock. But look, we got football on tonight, so you'll never hear me complain. And then obviously, tomorrow we're going to live stream the Indiana Notre Dame game. So we're excited about that from Mission Cigar Bar. So everybody needs to check that out as well.
Hey, and Jake, I will say the game that I'm heading to right now in Tampa, Florida, the Gasparilla Bowl of Tulane, Florida. What are your thoughts on that?
Florida, huge. Florida, huge.
Stop. But yeah,
Darian Mensah. If Darian Mensah was there, it'd be close. No more of that, dude. Yeah, this is gonna be a blowout. Sorry.
Give me Florida big.
Summerall, love you.
I did see a line of like,
love you, John Summerall. It's a blowout for y'all. Sorry.
I did see an over/under where it was like 55. I don't think they hit that exactly. But
you want me to give you the final score? Here's what it's gonna be. The final score is gonna be Florida 38, Tulane 13. That's what it's going to be.
That's a crazy under. Oh, and speaking of crazy under, since we're talking about the South game, they could have returned that onside kick for a touchdown easily, like that last onside kick. He just like kneeled out of bounds. It would have hit the over, and it would have covered.
Look, I can't complain. I had Alabama over 95.5 points last night in college basketball at North Dakota. They were up 5 at 95 points with a second left, and North Dakota fouled them. It just no reason to foul. Could have just ended the game. That was an emotional time. But no, I appreciate you guys having me.
Jake Crane of Crane and Company joining us. Check him out on YouTube, also on the Daily Wire app. Jake, have a great rest of the day, brother.
See you guys.
Have a great start to the college football playoff tomorrow.
Merry Christmas. Hope you get a lot of presents.
Brother. What an epic interview. Love Jake Crane. That's some Jake Crane action on the Thursday morning.
Yeah, I think that was probably our best interview. Not necessarily like who. I think we just had like obviously we've gotten more chemistry, and then also like the fact that Jake is kind of more of a hooligan as well. So it kind of all mixed together pretty well. I did like the other ones too, though. Like I especially, I told you this beforehand, I loved the Brad Logan interview. If we could get him on again for their bowl game, that'd be great. But it was really cool. I think I'm going to clip a few of those. I really liked what he had to say about Pavi, about NAIA. He definitely has one of the most complete histories when it comes to all that kind of stuff, because obviously he was at South. He was at a bunch of other schools. He's been at Nashville the whole time. I didn't want to tell the man to his face, but I kept seeing that Titans hat, and I wanted to hurl. But yeah, so we'll find him a better snapback pretty soon. But overall, loved the interview. Loved the fact that we could get him on. But yeah.
Yeah, he literally texted me about 5 minutes ago, and he said, "Got to run here soon." And I was like, "All right, time to." And I literally just saw this text now, and I was like, "All right, we dipping out." So, but yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's really interesting just seeing what has happened with college football, and it's been crazy. So let's go ahead. We got a message now. Wayne Johnson.
Scott, what up, Wayne? What up, Wayne? Wayne, I'm going away from you as fast as possible. Wayne lives up in Moody, near Birmingham, so I'm going away from Wayne right now. We're almost in Dothan, I think. But I'll check in with y'all a little later. I got to we're taking a little bathroom break. But I'll see y'all soon. I appreciate the interview and everything. But yeah, I'll check in a little later.
All right, don't piss yourself.
Oh my Lord.
Oh Lordy God, Jake Crane. Nah, for real. Jake Crane joining us once again on College Football Nightcap, bro. Man, Jake Crane, ladies and gentlemen. What an interview, not gonna lie. That was kind of fun. But nah, man, it truly was an unbelievable day yesterday. I mean, we're literally seeing what college football, the future of it, is looking like. And it's truly incredible. Truly, truly incredible. And just seeing what all has happened with college football. I know that there is a lot more that's to come. I know that we are entering a period where this is going to be much worse. Things may get something even crazier. But hey, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Elijah Drinkwitz saying the old style of thinking as far as having 85 scholarships and recruiting 4 deep at each position and moving up guys once another leaves is in the past. This is a 6-month free agency business. It really is. He's not wrong. Really, he ain't wrong. As much as people don't like it, this is the truth. This is the absolute truth in college football. And does it suck? Oh my gosh, yeah, it sucks. But at the same time, guys, you got to be honest with yourself. You got to be straight up. You got to know that at the end of the day, we're going to see more and more situations like this. We're going to see a hell of a lot more come to college football, and you're going to see a hell of a lot more with all that has transpired in college football, all that has with these eligibility issues, and a heck of a lot more. You know, I mean, does it suck? Yes. Make no mistake about that. Make no mistake about that. But at the end of the day, guys, y'all asked for it. You guys absolutely asked for it. So, guys, we got to talk some more around college football. Dallas Wilson, a big, big flip for Florida. He is requested to be released from his financial aid documents with the Ducks. He will sign with the University of Florida once he is released. Whoa! Ho, 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 ho. How the tides have turned for the Gators. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That was absolutely insane. Absolutely unbelievable with how that has turned around for Florida. Here was the thing for Florida that looked like it was going to be grim at the start of the season. What they've done in recruiting is unbelievable. You may have lost a lot of dudes to the portal, but man, you have really, really transformed what has been a truly unbelievable last couple of weeks for the university. 2025, it's up and down a little bit for Florida. Yeah, but you're number 11. Number 11, your top 15, arguably your best recruiting year that you've had in the Billy Napier era. You were 13th last year, especially with DJ Lagway coming in. That was a big pickup for them. So you could definitely say that was a big one for Billy Napier and company. I don't know what his first one was in 2022. I think it might have been 15 or something like that. They've been 13 for a good bit. They were 18th in 2022. But this is probably their best year that they had so far. So it definitely is a huge, huge. It'll definitely go up once you get Dallas Wilson involved in that pickup. So big victory for the Gators, and future looks a lot brighter, especially when you pair him along with DJ Lagway. Lagway's got 2 years, bro. Lagway's going to get Dallas Wilson for 2 more years. And how cool it will be to see something like that, to see that combination. It's truly going to be amazing. I am really, really intrigued to see what this is. Because, guys, you have no idea how good this will be for college football. This is truly going to be a remarkable, remarkable year for Florida. I would even consider Florida a dark horse to be a participant in a college football playoff. That may be saying a lot, but the schedule does kind of simmer down a little bit. Now, it does start off rough. Make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. But is it too much to say that this is a Florida team that could win 8 or 9 games next year? And could Billy Napier stay in Gainesville next year? Definitely would help. You play LIU and South Florida to begin the year. You should start 2-0. Then you go to Miami. Miami will be depleted. They won't have Cam Ward. I think you will be better for this season. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do steal a win against Miami. You play LSU. I think that might be your first loss. Not saying objectively. I'm just saying in general. It just depends on how Florida's offense can do against that LSU defense. I think I'll say this too. LSU's defense looked a hell of a lot better this year than you saw in previous years. Believe it or not. and as much as you may not want to say, but this was crazy, guys. This was absolutely insane what we're seeing right now in college football. I know that there's still a lot to look forward to. They should be 3-1 at the end of September. If they start 2-2, I mean, hey, it is what it is. You go to Texas, or you play Texas. I don't know what's really to expect. I think Arch Manning should get that one. You might be 2-4, 3-4, 3-5, 4-5, 4-6. I don't know, man. I don't really know, but it's definitely not out of the question that this could all likelihood be a dominant year next year for Florida. I think DJ Lagway could be one of the best in college football next year. It's definitely not out the question, but we'll just have to see. Instagram Live, I'm going to have to end it right here. We are approaching the hour-long mark, and unfortunately, Instagram will only allow me to go for so long. So y'all have a good one. Thank you guys for tuning in. 6 of y'all tuned in. We got tuning in team, Corey Lou 07, 1 Sharp 5. Oh, that's Bauer, Jules, Justin Woodle, and obviously Afton Mac. Thank you all for joining in. Y'all have a great rest of the day. For all those of you that are tuned in on YouTube and X, guess what? We get to go as long as we want. To be honest with you, I don't care because it's just like that, man. Just like that, and I just don't really care. Guys, Malik Murphy is currently visiting Oregon State, according to Jake Hedberg, insider with 247 Sports and Beaver Blitz. Definitely would be interesting to see if they do decide to come on. If he does go to that Oregon State offense, I know that they literally just lost one of their quarterbacks to UIW, but we'll just have to see. Guys, I'm going to take a quick break real fast while you're listening to College Football Nightcap. Guys, historic day today. Not even lying to you. What a historic day we had. Especially with what we got to see with Jake Crane coming in. Guys, Jake Crane is a hell of a guy. Y'all make sure y'all holler at him over on the Daily Wire app as well as YouTube at Crane and Company. He'll be on later on this afternoon at around 2:30, I think. Something like that. But no, man, it's going to be a great season. Guys, thank you all for tuning in. We've hit the hour mark. Final audience count at 420 people. Make sure that you guys go ahead. Give me a follow. Drop a like, heart on this video. If you're watching on YouTube, drop a like. Leave a comment down below, and we will see you all next time. Remember, keep your nose on the grindstone, as Tyler Childers always said. Y'all have a great rest of the day. See you all tomorrow.